Hi, it's Dr. Jones here. I wanted to talk about two red flags when starting a relationship with someone that the people need to pay attention to and not think of it as like, oh, this person really wants to be with me, but maybe I need to pump the brakes a little bit because these things are highly concerning, and the red flags that I don't believe that are talked about enough, and that I'm reminded by recent celebrity divorce filing. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I have been counseling women and men who have experienced abuse as well as those who are perpetrators of abuse and other violent crimes. So one of the things that I feel like is a red flag that not enough people pay attention to is, if you're how you start the relationship. And so if you're working together, if you and this person that you like are working together, maybe on the same job, and your company, your organization has a no fraternization, no hookup policy, right? And that person doesn't want to pay attention to the rules. They're going to do what they want to do. So they're going to disregard the fact that they could get fired for, going against company policy. And, a lot of times when you're in a particular business and you get fired, people can, have conversations about you behind the scenes. So, your reputation is going to precede you wherever you go. There's a legal aspect, like what HR is allowed to disclose, but there's also the peer-to-peer, the colleague aspect, like, hey, and that's the kind where you call a friend or a colleague on the phone, hey, give me the lowdown on this person that's getting ready to come over here. And those are those more informal, behind the scenes things that people talk about. Not supposed to do it, but people do it every day. But going back to it, if that person says, you know what, forget this job, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to hook up with you, and they haven't made any plans or preparation to leave their current job, meaning that they haven't found employment somewhere else, like saying, I really like you, but I want to respect the rules of this organization, and I'm going to go and I'm going to plan to find something else, and then I'm going to circle back to you. They haven't done any of that, and there's no talks of that. That is a red flag. That is a red flag, and the indication for me is that, one, a person doesn't respect rules, two, a person is impulsive, and three, that they don't think that the rules apply to them, and four, they're already banking on you potentially rescuing them from a situation. They're looking for you to rescue them from a situation, or they may blame you if whatever precarious situation they find themselves in doesn't work out. And they're going to blame you and say that you caused X, Y, and Z for me, and I did this because of you, and you wanted me to do this, and now look at where I'm at because it didn't work out for them. They have poor impulse control. They don't think through the consequences of their actions. They just say and do. And of course, like I said, the rules don't apply to them. So they can move how they want to move. They can do how they want to do. They don't think that they should have to suffer any consequences, or that, that if they do suffer consequences, oh well, so be it. They'll figure it out. They're, essentially they're just moving and shaking. You want to be careful with people like that. So that's my first red flag. Number two, the second red flag is, and a lot of you might not agree with this, but if you start a relationship with somebody and there is an animosity that develops from your family members. Like if you have a good relationship with your family and you want to maintain that relationship, and your family and your friends are like, no bueno, that means your children, that means your mom, your dad, your sister, whoever is close to you, if you honor and cherish those relationships, and they do not care for who you are going to start that relationship with. It doesn't matter how long you guys are together. They're not buying it. They don't like this person. You do not need to proceed forward. And I know a lot of people might disagree with me for that, but if you have a good relationship with your family and you honor them, you cherish them, you cherish that relationship, and you respect their opinion, then you do not proceed forward. Anybody that loves you is not going to want to be a bone of contention between you and your family. They do not want to be responsible for causing a divide with you and your family. And if their whole thing is they want to get together and shit talk with you about your family, they want to get in your face and say, well, I don't care, you're going to have to get over it and all this kind of stuff, you are looking at the devil in disguise, and it's just a matter of time before you find out why, and you're going to have to go back and eat up every single last word that your family said about them. And you're going to have to eat up those concerns. And a lot of people, especially a lot of people that I've counseled over the years, have had to sit with silence, or they feel like they've had to suffer in silence because they can't go back and tell their family that, they're so filled with shame and embarrassment and guilt. They don't want to go back and tell my family, hey, you were right. You were right to, all the concerns you had. This ain't Romeo and Juliet, homie. This ain't what it is. If your family and people have concerns, you need to pay attention to that, and you need to act accordingly. They can see it. You can't. When you're in that love bubble, you can't see it. But family members can often see it. But I think it says something about a person that is willing to come in and create chaos and pandemonium and feels like they can move any way they want to move when it comes to your family. And you allowed them to think that. Nobody allowed them to think that but you. So that is your fault. And it is on you to take the onus of ownership for this big mess that you have created. And it is that simple. You do have to pick a side, or you have to live with the consequence of causing a divide. And sometimes divides, they cannot be repaired. And I've had some in my own family, and I'm going to be honest with you. Some people have caused divides with me. They cannot ever be repaired. Ever, 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 ever. I don't care what they say and I don't care what they do, because you showed your colors, you showed your ass, and that's okay. I'm not holding on to anger or animosity with respect to that, but that's the route you chose to go, and that's how you have to, you're going to have to eat that, and you're going to have to live with that. One last thing. I said I was going to do 2, but I'm actually going to do 3. The third one is, don't ever allow, and this kind of piggybacks into this last point, don't triangulate your family members with whoever you're trying to bring into the family. And the way that you don't do this is if your family members express grievances and they express concerns, or they say some things about the person you're bringing in, don't run back and tell everything that your family members are expressing to you. There are things, there are conversations that you need to keep to yourself and sort of, between you and that family member. But when you run back and you go tell everything, you are pouring gasoline on the conflict. You are triangulating people against each other. You're creating chaos in this corner and that corner and the next corner. So you are the problem at that point. When you have two polarizing entities of people, two polarizing parties of people, you go back and this one said that one and this one said that, and you're a fence rider. You are the problem. People are going to have their opinions. They're going to have that, and you need to figure out which side of the fence that you're on. But when you go back and run and tell everything to everybody, and naturally people are going to get pissed. They're going to get gassed up. You're the problem. And those are things that a lot of times you can't fix later on if you wanted to fix them, because now you've put yourself in the middle and you've created the chaos. Everything is not for everybody, but you probably would not be in that position if you respected yourself and you respected your people. Hope that helps. Thanks so much.